Hello, everyone. So today I'm bringing you some Hynix M-die timings. Okay, and I don't know if y'all remember this, if you've watched a few of my other videos, but I said that CL26 was unstable for my Hynix A-die and M-die. Pretty much every kit that I've owned was unstable, and so was GDM. And I'm going to tell you why. Or at least what I highly suspect was the issue, which a lot of other people may be having this same problem because in BuildZoid's DDR5 easy timings video, some of these timings were kind of too loose, or I'm sorry, too tight, and it can definitely um now, in his video, he doesn't say to disable. I don't think he said to disable gear down mode. I can't remember off the top of my head. But for me, GDM, it seemed like, well, GDM probably was what was causing his instability, but a certain timing was behind it. So these are my timings. You can't see my, well, okay, let's open up hardware info. We'll do that real quick. And I will show you my voltages. And honestly, I probably could lower my voltages even more. I just haven't really tested them out yet, or I haven't tested lower voltages because I have fans on my RAM, so it's not really like me running 1.5. Right, I think right now I'm running 1.52 in the BIOS, but it's 1 point staying right around 1 point. Oh, okay, here we go. VDD one, or sorry, 1.53, 1.53. But because I have fans on my RAM, it's like I could run 1.56 and not really go above like 42 degrees C. But once you get down to like CL26, temperature starts to become more of a limiting factor than anything. So you could have a great bin, but if you go above a certain temperature, it's like no matter what you do, your RAM's not going to be stable at CL26 with high voltage, just because you're going to be hitting like 48 to 50 degrees C, which isn't really going to cook your RAM or anything. It's not like dangerous. It's just you're not going to be able to get the most optimal timings possible. Um, so yeah, definitely recommend if you want to get something like CL26 and run like 1.53 volts or 1.6, you probably should do something like what I if you want to see what my setup looks like and what I kind of recommend, go and watch after this video, of course, go and watch my other video I made where I show my PC build. Well, actually, I uploaded that video today. So, anyways, um, so yeah, so we're right at 32 degrees C, 1.5, it's dropping down to 1.515, but I don't know what's going on with that. But regardless, we got GDM disabled. VDDQ I think is 1.45, something like that. It's either I think it's 1.45, and then VDDIO or okay, hold on, wait, I'm getting confused with my voltage. Oh, here. Oh, I can literally look at it. Okay, never mind. It's 1.5. Sorry about that. So okay, we got 1.53, 1.5, and then VDDIO, okay, I guess that's not listed over here, but VDDIO is 1.35, 1.4. Okay, so that's 1.4. 1 point. I wish I could record my BIOS. That would be. I'm gonna get an extra external capture card so I can actually do that because, yeah, that'll make explaining some of this a little more streamlined. But anyways, regardless, so yeah, voltages, with Hynix M to Hynix A die, you're really gonna be like, well, M doesn't really respond well to super high voltages, but Hynix A does. It'll keep scaling up to like 1.8, 1.8. I've even seen people run 1.9. And as long as you got the cooling for it, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it, but there is a point where voltage does start to degrade, even without high temps. So it's like you want to be careful. You want to be careful once you start getting up to that. I wouldn't personally run 1.8. Um, because that probably will it won't degrade them overnight, but over time it will more than likely degrade your sticks more than like somebody running 1.5 volts. 1.5 versus 1.35 is even if you didn't have cooling, you're gonna be fine. Anyway, okay. Anyways, let's get right into my RAM timings. So 6,000 megahertz. I'm gonna test I haven't tested 6200 or 6400. So yeah, that's probably my next step is testing out 6200, because right now I'm happy with where I'm at. My sub timings probably could be tightened a little bit more, but my main thing was, oh, and by the way, I have proof. Boom. Took a screenshot, did 8 hours of test Mem 5 with CL26, perfectly stable, no errors or anything. And in my opinion, 8 hours is plenty of time running test Mem 5 to pretty much assure that you're stable. I don't have FCLK overclock. I probably should, but it's like I said, my main prerogative was testing CL26 and then obviously TRC, TRCD, and TRP, and and then also okay, so the timing that I was talking about that causes problems is TRC. Don't run 68. Do not run 68. It's more than likely unstable. But the weird thing about TRC is that it won't present as unstable in stress tests. It just won't. But you want to run 80 for me seems to be fine. I haven't tested any lower, but I would just be for this timing rate, TRC, I would be more safe than sorry with that because this is what was causing my weird system behavior when it would be set too low. And then also, if you have ADI, RD, SCL can also cause, you might, if you have some Hynix ADI can only do 8. It won't be able to do, excuse me, it won't be able to do 6 or 4 or anything like, some will, but my kit of Hynix ADI, even at Expo, because I think at Expo it set it to 6, it was unstable. I set it to 8, and that was a nightmare trying to figure out exactly what timing was causing that instability. And I narrowed it down to TRD, RD, SEL. So I think WR was fine. Let's see. I really wish that timings were listed in the same way that I wonder if because I do have my let's see, I do have a Gigabyte software. I wonder if it does maybe performance. Okay, DDR. No. Okay, fantastic. That would be really great if they could list timings. That'd be so convenient. Yeah, I guess probably there's probably no way to really do that. Well, regardless. Anyways, so yeah, we got CL26, TRCD 36, TRC 80, TRRDS 4, TRRDL 10, TFAL 22, TWTR. You could probably run 20, but on like I said, some of these I went a little conservative because it's like versus Expo, it's going to be significantly faster if you tighten it, but but you also don't want to cause any sort of instability because that's just going to be annoying as hell to troubleshoot. So some of these probably could be tightened to some extent, but it's like, is it really going to increase performance all that much if I notch down 1 or 2 of these by 2? Like, no, it's really not going to make. The biggest difference is going to be disabling hypervisor, getting GDM disabled, and obviously CL. Like a lot of people say CL doesn't matter, which I kind of disagree because CL directly lowers latency. Like it's the one timing. Okay, the reason why people say that secondary timings are the main things that improve performance, which they are. It's because you're changing so many at once, and this does make overall a larger difference. But once you get down to like 65 to 70 nanoseconds of latency, you're what the really most of what's going to get your latency down is lowering CL at that point. Because at that point you've already optimized all of your secondaries. but you still haven't optimized your CL. So this is where, like, I remember with ADI, when I had my ADI sticks, people were telling, I was hearing that people were saying like, oh, main cast latency, it doesn't matter. And I was like, okay, they might be saying that, but let me just change, let me just mess around with it real quick. And I was literally watching um, I was watching my latency go from like 67 at 30 down to 65 at 28, down to like 62 at 26. And I was like, okay, these people are smoking crack. Clearly, CL does have a difference, especially once you already have relatively optimized secondary timings. And then obviously my default expo was 38. So I changed that to, those to 30. You should be able to run 36, especially at higher voltages. If you have a really bad kit of MDI, you might not be, it might be unstable. For me, perfectly stable. Um, and then yeah, TREFI 65525. Once again, make sure you have cooling on your memory. And I am running DDR5 Nitro mode 1120 with the burst length at 8 times. That just pretty much what that does is it increases the time that your memory will train. For me, I didn't really notice a very big difference in boot time or anything. It wasn't huge, and it's only going to increase system stability. So it's like just set your burst length in the DDR5 Nitro menu to 8 times for both of them. There's going to be two. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but there's two options that say Nitro burst length or whatever, and that'll help with DDR5 training. And then my TRFC is 500. I probably could do like 490, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, is it going to improve performance? Maybe an ADA, it might lower latency by 0.5, probably not even that much. But yeah, so this is what we're looking. I haven't even done an ADA latency. I didn't even do a latency test because it's like I know it's stable. Um, I have GDM disabled. I think okay. The one thing that ADA is useful for is it will tell you right off the bat if you have um, hypervisor enabled, and I think I have it disabled. Yeah, I have it disabled. So if you have hypervisor enabled, you will see right down here. It'll pop up yellow say hypervisor. And if you don't know how to disable that, type in type in core isolation, click on that, and then turn off memory integrity. Um, yeah. So once you do that, then you have to go into BIOS and turn off SVM. Both settings, it'll be like SVM enabled, disable that, and then there'll be another option for SVM and disable that, and then you'll have hypervisor completely disabled. Yeah. So with that, I mean, if you have Hynix MDI, because a lot of people don't think MDI can scale well at lower cast latencies, but that's probably well, either I have a good kit, I don't really know, or it's just because people don't put fans on their memory. So yeah, if your memory gets up to like 50 degrees C, you probably won't be able to run CL26. But if you put some fans on your memory, your chances of being able to run timings like this are significantly higher. So if you are trying to run CL26 and you can't get your test to pass, I would first off assume, I would point to temperature. Okay. I during my entire run, I don't think I haven't even turned my system off. So, oh, actually, well, okay, but I closed. Well, damn, I closed hardware info. But when I left to go for like some Easter stuff, and I came back. That was 8 hours later, and my system or my RAM was when I left it was at 39.5. When I got back, it was still at 39.5 degrees C. So that just shows you that fans do work. If I didn't have a fan, my RAM would have probably hit 45, 46, 47. And once you start going up, your chances of instability just continue to go through the roof. So um, definitely get a fan on that RAM. You know, if I haven't made my point clear. Well, if you're just trying to run Expo, obviously it doesn't really matter. But if you're trying to get really good timings on your RAM, run a fan. And run normal refresh mode. I I just I know they said that, like, you know, there's a listen, I did a little bit of research on mixed mode, and yes, it does secure down a vulnerability, but it's not a vulnerability that would ever hit like an individual system. This vulnerability would be for like a corporation to worry about. And it had to do with people were able to you're able to access like memory rows or something like that. So the mixed mode, it changes refresh modes pretty much, and it makes it much more difficult or impossible to actually do like hack into or whatever. But an individual system, it would be too much effort to even do that for one person. So like yeah, if you're like a corporate executive or something, you have a ton of highly um you know classified documents on your computer, okay, mixed mode might be a good idea. But if you're just like a regular person with a regular computer that just plays video games or something or does schoolwork, it's like you don't have to worry about that. It's just that it's really is just that simple. Um, yeah, so these are the timings. Um, and they work very well. And once again, I'll reiterate TRC, make sure that is not set to 68. Because it can go pretty low. It can go low, but it was causing a lot of it was making me think GDM was the problem. While you know, this can TRC can run 68 or lower with GDM on, but the moment you turn GDM off, um, you're not going to want to be running that at like 68 or a low timing because TRC doesn't really affect performance all that much, anyways. Um, and then let's see what else. So yeah, and watch out for RDRD SEL. You might have to set that to 8, and watch out for WR SEL. I recommend just starting at 6. If that's unstable, set them both to 8. You can try 4 if you have good sticks. 4 might work perfectly fine. And I think 4 would probably work perfectly fine for me, but it's like I don't really feel like going through the testing to get 2 notches down on these. It's you know, is it worth it? Maybe I'll do it, but it's like at this point, I'm not too concerned about it. Um, yeah. So obviously, powering down disabled, memory context restore disabled. That's just so that your RAM trains every single time you boot into Windows. And so yeah, we have TRFC sitting at 166 nanoseconds. So yeah, I mean for MDI, like that's right at around where you want it. You know, like if I lowered this to 480, I think that'd make it an equal 160. But I tried 480 and it wasn't stable. So 500 is kind of like once again, you know, people really try to get these like it's impressive if anything, getting these really, really low numbers, but it's like, is it stable in every single situation that you throw at it? Maybe. You know, but then again, if you do stress test it well enough, then it's like odds of it, um, odds of coming into anything that actually does cause instability is gonna be low. But yeah, for MDI, I recommend just staying at 500. You know, you could try 480, but it's like with 500, it's like you know you're good. It's not, you know, it just kind of takes out a, a potential instability if you're like having if you're having errors in you know testmin 5 or whatever and you can't figure out what's going on and you're setting TRFC to like 470 or 480. I would suspect that off rip, just out of the gate, because you know, well, really, normally when you set TRFC too low, you'll notice immediately your system will start acting kind of funky. But anyways, hopefully this was useful and y'all got some good info from it. And definitely try these timings if you want. They might work, might not. But get a fan on that on those RAM sticks, because if you don't have a fan on them, they probably won't work. But anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.